Hi, everyone, and welcome to another glorious week in MHA626, where the content topic is privacy, confidentiality, and security. Now, if you think about these three terms, you might immediately go to our favorite topic in the world, HIPAA. And you are correct. If you're involved in healthcare as a clinician, as entering into the support status, this sort of rules through. We're going to talk about this in a little bit different way. Let's explore, first of all, really these primary aspects of HIPAA, but and I'm going to ask you to sort of reflect upon your experience with HIPAA as we move through this. So why don't we begin? I'm hoping that the end of this, and it's going to be a fairly short YouTube video here, that you're able to really identify some of the issues connected to privacy, confidentiality, and security, but it does relate to protected health information. That's really the key aspect here, which falls into a variety of categories. We'll sort of shuffle through some few things. So why don't we start with this concept of confidentiality? Um, and I'm going to ask you to always sort of think about, put yourself in a patient perspective. All of us have been patients within the healthcare system. Um, some of you have experienced quite a bit individually. I certainly know that is absolutely true with family, friends, loved ones. So you can either put yourself as a user or family, friends, and loved ones in the category. But we realize that confidentiality is important. But that really is we trust upon healthcare professionals, um, who definitely have access to the user information, to hold that information confidentiality. So it's really about others and our caregivers in healthcare. But the key part of that is related to the layers that exist. We all know this, that there are layers of confidentiality in healthcare. From an inpatient and outpatient perspective, we have sort of direct caregivers, clinicians, um, but then we will, from, certainly, the physicians and perhaps nurse practitioners, um, PAs, but then we will also have, certainly in an inpatient setting, um, individuals who are on different shifts, diagnostic professionals, um, who have access to our information. And then we have sort of a third level of individuals who are in health information management, medical records, perhaps administrative folks, billing folks, who will also, and they need to have access to that. So there are layers of confidentiality that exist. It is not just individuals who are providing direct care to us. At the same time, there's interest that need to be balanced in terms of privacy. And privacy is really sort of the key part. I'm not sure what this is, so let me try and get rid of it. Key part of HIPAA, the HIPAA privacy rule, you have access to this as well, is distinct from confidentiality. It really is, looked at as the right of an individual, we use the term client, patient, person, user, to really be, um, to make up their own mind in terms of how that personal information is shared. And when we talk about this personal healthcare information, it is, um, our, let's say, medical information, but it can also be a variety of other things, including, what we sort of say. I'll sort of put down our thoughts. In the notes that our healthcare providers, are required to take, they will, talk about a variety of non-clinical information. Patient is compliant, not compliant, a variety of things that also encompasses sort of the privacy, not sort of the privacy area, and this really comes into play um, with the notion of HIPAA. So I'm going to ask you to really, and you have access to this, to understand what this privacy rule is all about. It is perhaps a little bit deeper, um, in a lot of ways, fairly simplistic, but deeper than what many of us have come to understand as HIPAA. We understand HIPAA as well. We can't talk about stuff. And then what do? Well, we sign it. We sign stuff and say, yes, I, Kevin Valadares, will never violate HIPAA. And it is much more complicated than that, much more nuanced than that. The intention is always and always has been to primarily safeguard and protect a person's privacy of protected health information. But I will tell you that, it has changed tremendously. So we want to be able to explain that, you know, I'm sorry, we want to be able to understand that, especially as we, are definitely entering the area of artificial intelligence and how that really has changed and changed a HIPAA law that was created in the mid 90s. The last, part of HIPAA, which is key, relates to security. Now, this was always meant to, uh, tackle the issue of moving medical records, health information from a paper perspective to an electronic perspective. This has mainly been done for the vast majority of um, healthcare settings, and we don't have too many holdouts. So the security perspective, though, as we easily transfer health information from setting to setting, it is certainly a secure issue of security. It's probably not as, what's the best way to say this? Um, it's not as much of a priority as the Privacy Act, but it's still a key portion. So I promise you a little bit of a shorter YouTube video here. Let me summarize everything in terms of sharing this. This information, first of all, this is a screenshot of the JAMA article that all of you have access to. And a key aspect of this is related to the notion of information, data as power. Now, power over patients and clinicians. And so this paragraph that I screenshotted here is key because it relates to what the public, you and I, always do. I am taking a wild guess that all of us listening to this have certainly searched healthcare information because we have the access in an amazing way um, to give us immediate information about our health, our family's health, our kids' health, or some issue. And, as soon as we do that and we get some sort of satisfactory result, and even though there are things that maybe don't make sense when we search, there's a lot of things that are certainly, absolutely key. That information might be, if it might be connected to whatever, our sort of notation, our account, our email address, it's stored. And so you think about that, and that's a function of, certainly the artificial intelligence that exists in, these search engines, but also in chat systems. But it's no different. We have clinicians who are using the same information. It's a repository of wonderful information. I think the key thing is related to this, that the notion of HIPAA, and I go back to the fact that perhaps all of you listening to this have signed or completed some sort of HIPAA test or module, and maybe you have to do this on a yearly basis, maybe every couple years. Um, but it was really created a while ago, and is it antiquated? And so I'd ask you to think about this as we enter what I would say is a new phase in, I would say, the health informatics world, which is how do we sort of deal with the challenges related to confidentiality, privacy, and security, more mainly the first two, when this was created at a different time. It's not just the information is electronic, we know that, but it is readily accessible, easily shareable, easily identifiable, but also can, um, enter into, and it's already, I mean, it's already there, into an area that it impacts other parts of our life. Okay, well, let me stop talking for now. And please, as usual, if you have any questions to follow up on as it relates to this topic, which is a key one and one that I'm personally very interested in, reach out, please. All right. Thanks, everyone.